Good afternoon and welcome to Coffee on the Coast. Hello, I'm your host today for Coffee on the Coast, Tina Prigge. I am delighted to be joined by this familiar face. This is Tim Gedzinski from the Manitowoc Public Library, and we've got a cool topic that we're going to be talking about. So first, Tim, let me say hello and welcome.
Well, hello. I barely seen you these past 2 weeks.
You're becoming like family. We see each other so much. This is
I know
awesome.
there's like a shadow image of myself burnt onto my computer from the time I appeared on the show. So, but thank you so much for having me. I'm glad that you haven't gotten sick of me yet.
No, especially because you keep coming up with these cool topics and these cool events to talk about. And today is no exception. I'm going to put this graphic back up because we're talking about this upcoming virtual event that's going to be hosted by the Manitowoc Public Library called The Cocktail Experience with Fhima's of Minneapolis. This is going to happen on Tuesday, December 14th at 5 p.m. But you want to be prepared because this is your chance to learn about, and I have to pull this up, Tim, because you worded it the best way. The cocktail experience is less than a week away. And if you're interested in flexing your mixological muscle, then use this tutorial to add a little zazz to the adult beverages you'll be serving at your holiday get-togethers. So I love that. And I'm just gonna pull up this picture. Look at some of these beautiful creations that you can learn to make in this tutorial, and you can show off and really impress your friends with some zazz.
Exactly. It's a very zazzful cocktail establishment and restaurant. I mean, their food is as zazzy as their cocktails. It's just an incredible place, and it's funny, as I was telling you earlier. You never know what direction anything's going to take. You have the best laid plans and they just go completely awry, but you wind up doing something, wonderful and interesting, to begin with. And in my case, because I never stop. I just, I find programming no matter where I go, and that wasn't a part of it at all. But actually, the cocktail experience started with a trip that we had planned to go to Portugal. So it's odd that it started that way, but we were planning to go to Portugal last August, but the Delta variant had other ideas, so
Right.
it got postponed. As such, we're like, well, we already have time off, so why don't we use it? So we decided to go to the Lisbon of the Midwest, Minneapolis.
Is that
So,
true? It's the Lisbon of the Midwest. I never knew that. That's cool.
that's not true at all. That's just what
Oh,
Mara and myself called it. We
I
were
love
trying
it though.
desperately to make ourselves feel better about not going to Portugal. No, but I love Minneapolis, but no, to my knowledge, no one's ever called it the Lisbon of the Midwest. But we can now. And
This
help to
this this is
disseminate.
how things get started, right? It's
Oh, wouldn't it be crazy if, like, in 6 months, we started hearing everyone refer to Minneapolis as the Portugal of the Midwest? We could strut around like cocks of the walk, knowing that we were responsible for it. So,
Tim Gedzinski declares it. Suddenly there's a billboard.
I love billboards. But so we went to Minneapolis instead, and we were wandering around. And Minneapolis at this point was just really starting to emerge from the pandemic. They had all sorts of mandates and requirements, and we had discovered that until about 2 weeks before, restaurants and bars weren't even open or serving, or there were very few. And so we were just wandering around downtown Minneapolis to actually see what was open and what wasn't, and it was absurdly hot. We went to Minneapolis the hottest time of the year. It was the whole time we were there. It was between 92 and 105. The humidity was always over 90. It never rained. It felt like you were walking through boiling pudding. And it was just, it was so unpleasant. But we had a great time, and we found great little movie houses that were open. And uh, so it was great. But we were melting on the sidewalk, and we're walking, and we're about a half mile from our hotel. And Mara, my wife, says, "Do you want to just stop in here and get a drink?" And as I am virtually like, I'm 95, I'm composed 95% of sweat and yuck at this point. I agree. I'm like, let's just go inside. And like you said, this beautiful place, I didn't even notice it from the outside, but I went from being just displeased with life to walking into this marvelous place. And right away, you walk in through a couple curtains, and then you sit at this great double bar with the their it's lit in the middle. Their entire like bottled selection of adult beverages is there, and it's underlit. So it's like it looks like it's kind of like a an adult candy store. That's the best way to describe.
Ooh.
But when you sit down, my vibe on the place was it was like The Great Gatsby meets the bar from The Shining meets Narnia, and I was hooked. I was instantly hooked. I just absolutely loved it. And our bartender, her name it was Madison, and it was funny that when we came in, the host said, "Now make sure you be nice to Madison." And we're like, "Of course we're going to be nice to Madison," but he was just joking around. And so Madison makes our drinks, and if you want to. You had that panel that had four pictures in there. The one that is right next to the word Fhima's, I can't remember the name of it, but it was called something like an assignation in Istanbul or something like that.
Is
And they
there a
put,
fire? Like, do I actually see flames in that
yep,
picture?
the first thing they do is they put maple chips into this little hollow in a board and set them on fire. And then what they do next is they take the glass you see in the background and snuff it out and smoke the glass, but the glass fills with smoke. And then they take that cylindrical ice cube that you see there and they set it in the glass and swirl it. And then they pour that vial of liquor onto it and a small, like, Scirocco of smoke whisks out of the glass and rises. And my first impression was like, I don't even care how this tastes. I'm ordering another one to see that presentation again. And then the other thing that you brought up that was like, with the one to the right, it's the glass to the right, that one. That's what Mara had. And it's essentially just kind of a riff on a Tom Collins, but they also set sage on fire and smoke the not in the glass, just around the glass. And it is really what they do with everything, their food and their beverages, is they create a complete sensory experience. And
Yeah.
it was just crazy. And so 15 minutes into it, this sweaty guy from Wisconsin turns to the
Thanks for
bartender and says,
representing, Tim. Thanks for representing.
you know, I do what I can. You know, but I said, look, I know you probably didn't expect this on a Thursday afternoon, but would you have any interest in doing a virtual program that's a cocktail tutorial around the holidays for a library in Wisconsin? And I expected her to say, no, please just be quiet and have your drink. And
Yeah,
but
like,
she was way into yeah, yeah. You do not exist anymore. Please just be a good patron and behave. But she said, let me check with my manager. Well, as it turns out, the guy who told me to be nice to Madison was actually Eli Fhima, part of the Fhima family that owns the restaurant, and he's the operations manager for the entire place. And she checked with him, and I was shocked, but he came over and we had a conversation, like a 15-minute conversation that had absolutely nothing to do with the virtual program. We just, he has a new baby, and we talked about the place, and we just talked about what music we liked and movies a lot of movie talk. And then at the end of it, he's like, yeah, sure, let's do this program. And so I was like 15 minutes into it, and they had agreed to it, and I really didn't anticipate that at all. And we didn't have any details, nothing. When I left, I didn't even know his last name. I didn't know he was part of the Fhima family until the next day when I looked at his business card. I just thought I had a really nice talk with a manager named Eli that was pleasant, and Madison was great. And it just created this program, and we're just really psyched to be doing it.
It's so cool. First of all, what a cool story to get there in the first place. And I love that you are always working your Tim Gadzinski magic, right? That if somebody knows something cool, it is very possible they will end up in your programming and you just have this magic way of getting them to acquiesce, which is so cool.
I always tell people, uh, don't say anything interesting around me if you don't want it to be used somehow at some time. Like Darlene Wellner, she just casually mentioned that she had worked at Aluminum Specialty when she was in college working on the aluminum trees. And I'm like, all right, well, you're going to be in Barb's show now. You're going to be in the virtual Sparkle because, that what a fun story to tell, to actually have a firsthand account of what it was like,
Yeah,
and it's so
absolutely.
not what people think of with Darlene. She's you don't think of her as being a factory worker. And I don't
No,
know what that profile actually is, but Darlene just is so like, she's reserved and just incredibly erudite. And it's just, I'm not trying
mhm.
to say anything. I know I'm profiling factory workers, and I shouldn't do
Well,
that. But it was a different ball game back then.
yeah,
Now I know I'm getting away from the cocktail experience, but there were so many women that worked third shift. They actually came up with a song that they sang on the production line. I think it's called "The Girls of the Third Shift," and
I'm
it's a
listening.
little song about. I don't know it. If Barb was here, she could
Ah,
sing it. I don't know it. I
okay.
just print out the sheets that people sing along with Barb for. I can tell you what the sheets look like. It has an aluminum tree on it. But no, I do like I think it's interesting to get people to uh tell their stories and just everyone has interesting skills and events and knowledge, and I love and I've always as an adult been that way. Even when I was putting performance art together in New York, I I just refer to it as playing to people's strengths, because if it's what they're passionate about and what they know, and you can work it into a piece, why
Mhm.
wouldn't you want to have that?
It's like the skill of being a great connector. You hear about these, skills, talents, interests, and then you've got this platform where you're sharing knowledge and resources with the community to make the community a smarter, better place. And it's like this perfect fit. That's
well,
awesome, Tim.
it's such a diverse community, and I think, and then this is something I've noticed since I was a kid. People tend to keep things a little to themselves in Manitowoc. They're not always. I mean, some people are, but not everyone is always willing to celebrate their uniqueness. And I'm all about celebrating uniqueness. I mean, look at my hair. I
Yeah.
should give you a clue right there, because I don't know what it's doing, but we have a very agreeable situation with each other. No, I just love celebrating the uniqueness of Manitowoc, and I think it needs to be brought up more. And even if that means like that you go somewhere interesting on a little getaway, and you see something that you feel people would be interested in back home, well then corral these people into
Yeah.
helping to do something. So yeah, Madison is going to be making four and he's coming full circle slowly. Madison's going to be doing a tutorial for four really great drinks, and they always have interesting spins on what they do. And the Eli Fhima, the operations manager, he's actually going to do a little virtual tour at the start of the program to share the story about how FEMA wound up where they were, because, and not really a spoiler, but they used to be 60 feet to the east. That's all I'll say about it. But and he's going to give a virtual tour of the interior. It's just such a beautiful Art Deco establishment that the
Yeah. It
pictures don't
looks
even do it
cool.
justice. But I
It
do
looks
love,
inspiring. I
that.
love how you described it as Gatsby. That's the first thing I thought of when I saw
Oh
it
yeah,
too.
and the
And
waiters have a specific uniform, and the bartenders in this picture, they don't show it, but they've switched their uniform. It verges on like steampunk meets, oh, what is that German science fiction? Metropolis. It's almost like steampunk meets Metropolis, what they wear, because they have these great leather aprons and they have all these different tools of the trade in them. It's a great place, and so I wanted to share it with people in Manitowoc, and hopefully, if people venture to Minneapolis, you know they'll they'll go there. Go
Yeah,
there and
and
check
what
it
a
out
great
themselves.
opportunity to learn how to make drinks. I think we're like the masters of old fashions here, but it looks like there's really some other cool options and unique twists. I'm just quickly going through some of these
Yeah.
pictures. And you also shared these ingredients because people are encouraged to
Hmm.
learn from Madison, from these masters at FEMA's, how to make their own cool cocktails. And so
Yeah.
I've just got this graphic up that shows some of the ingredients in case you want to do it right along or be prepared after you've watched it. And I love the pro tip at the bottom: use fresh juice. It's so much tastier.
That's a direct quote from Madison. So, I agree. And, but she picked things that people wouldn't have to break the bank to do, or, have to get all sorts of special things. But they do just incredible twists on beverages. Mary is correct. It is very cool. I can attest to that. And it's going to be a great program. And but they change their menu a lot seasonally, but even within season. And I was just looking at their cocktail menu, and they do a Sazerac, which is kind of a riff on a Manhattan. But the Sazerac that they have on their special menu now is made with duck fat. And
A
I don't
drink?
a drink. I don't even know, but it's some sort of bourbon that has been infused with duck fat. I don't even know how you do that. I don't even know what it
Yeah.
is, but I saw it, and I was almost, I almost called Mara. I'm like, honey, let's get in the car.
Well, their
But I did.
secrets of alchemy seem so fascinating,
It is
like with the
alchemic. I
fire
agree.
and yeah. And
Yeah.
if you look at this, it really looks like a little Christmas beverage.
Yeah.
Even this one, it has like the green and the red, and how fun to learn something new.
Yeah, they are great with colors. And like Madison and I, when we were talking, when we were there at the bar, we actually went back one other time because I just want to be like, are you sure that you're really going to do this program? And also because I wanted the spinning smoke cyclone coming out of my drink again. But I love her approach. She's like, it's not about drinking to excess. It's not about doing shots and getting wasted. It's about crafting an incredible experience in a glass that people take their time and they enjoy, and it's about engaging all their senses. And I'm like, you are 25 tops, and you describe that so much better than I ever could. So luckily, I caught you in the right mood that very hot
Yeah.
day in Minneapolis, and they agreed to do it.
I mean, that's so cool that the concept of creating this beautiful drink experience. I
Hmm.
love that. And I love the fact that you found this in the Lisbon of the Midwest, right? In Minneapolis. And you're bringing it to patrons here in Manitowoc County, patrons of the Manitowoc Public Library, where there is no cost to do it. You can join
Hmm.
along and watch. Let's tell people when it is again. This is the cocktail experience with FEMA's Minneapolis. It's going to be a virtual event Tuesday, December 14th, 5 o'clock p.m. Here again, I just want to put up, Tim, your little description that if you're interested in flexing your mixological muscle, use this tutorial to add a little zazz to the adult beverages you'll be serving at your holiday get-togethers. Say mixological muscle 5 times.
You want me to do that now?
Yeah, I do.
Let's see if I can do it. Wait, let me warm up just a little bit. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. Okay, I think I'm ready to go. Mixological muscle, mixological muscle, mixological muscle, mixological muscle, mixological muscle. The master's degree still works.
That was impressive, Tim. That was impressive.
Thank you. And
I think
just,
I think Mary's talking about the beverage, but she could be talking about you right now.
oh golly, flattery will get you absolutely everywhere. So, um, and I did want to tell people, I don't think we ever brought this up. It's on both our Facebook page, which is www.facebook.com/Manitowoc Library, but it's also on our YouTube channel. So it'll be live streaming. And if people have questions or comments as it's going on, just type them on and I'll get them to Madison or Eli, whoever the question is for.
And it's a good point that to know that it's on Facebook and YouTube. And so I suppose that means if somebody's not able to participate live when the virtual stream is happening, they could always watch it then going
Oh yeah,
forward and or watch it multiple times if they're trying to
mhm.
take notes.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, just minutes after, not even minutes, seconds after we finish the live stream, it'll be archived on both our YouTube and our Facebook in the video section, probably forever until the
Nice.
fall of Western civilization.
Which I hope is forever, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, how else are people going to get to the Lisbon of the Midwest if it isn't forever? I mean, how can we get that term going as something that, we started?
Tim, it is always so much fun talking to you. And in addition to that, I'm always so impressed with the cool innovations that you are presenting and making happen, including this cocktail experience. Thank you for sharing this with us.
Oh, thank you.
Viewers, make sure you mark your calendars. Tuesday, December 14th, 5 o'clock p.m. for this virtual event. It's always a pleasure, Tim.
Always a pleasure. And thank you so much for helping us to spread the word and for always putting my questionable mug on the internet for everyone to see.
You know what everyone's going to want is pictures of the beverages that you end up making for your holidays.
Oh, that's an interest. I haven't even thought that far ahead. I'm just like, okay, got to do this, got to do this, got to do this, got to do this, and it's Mara and myself and a pug at home. I'm not sure what's safe to give a pug to drink. I'm sure not gin. I'm going to say not gin. I'm not a veterinarian. Thank goodness I'm married to one. Um, but yeah, I haven't. We haven't. I have no idea. I have no idea.
Would it be like if you give a mouse a cookie? Isn't that a book that you have at the library?
if you give a pug a gin and tonic, are you suggesting that as a sequel? I don't know. I think it depends on the illustrations, really.
There you go. Well, to find out how to make some beautiful, gorgeous experience beverages like this that you can serve for your upcoming gatherings, tune in to the Cocktail Experience. It's a virtual event. It is happening Tuesday, December 14th, 5 p.m. This innovative programming is brought to you by the Manitowoc Public Library. Thanks so much, everyone.
I mean, you put the period on it. Thank you so much.
Mixological muscle. Okay, we'll see you next time.
You only said it twice. I think you need 3 more.
I'm amazed I could say it at all.
I don't think it would be as easy to say after, say, having a monk in the garden at Fhima's. Or it might be even easier. I might get faster. Who can say?
Something we'll have to test out.
Exactly. Trial and error.
Yes, there we go. Thanks, everybody, so much for watching this episode of Coffee on the Coast. We'll see you next time.
Bye.